But it had gotten to the point where we literally had no running water in the house. I'm filling up. I'm going to the gym to shower, and I'm filling up gallons of water to bring back home just to pour in the tank to flush my toilet, right?
Yeah.
And we're playing hide and seek and stuff in the dark and, going to
Making
bed early,
up.
making things up. And it was in the moment, like all of that, I was navigating through all of that so well. But it was those children arguing over her room that broke me down. And when she said what she said to me, I made a promise to her in that moment that you will never, ever experience this ever again. Mommy is going to set you up financially. And I became dead set on doing so. Like so many people make these excuses about why they can't do stuff. Oh, I have to work, so I can't start the job. I can't finish the course because I'm busy. The kids are calling my name. It's dinner. I'm a wife. I'm a mom. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm all of these things. But what you are is a freedom tool for your children. I think in the African American community, we don't set up any type of inheritance for our children. So generation after generation, we're starting off from scratch. And other cultures, white people, Indians, Asians, they have a different economical standard that gives their children a head start. And I saw that. I identified that. And I'm like, the cycle ends with me. So many people will figure out a way to survive being broke for their children, but they won't spend that same energy figuring out how to get rich for them either.
And what's MLM for people that may not know?
Multi-level marketing. So those pyramid schemes that everybody calls it, but just networking. So you're putting groups of people together who are all marketing like one product, one service, one offer.
Okay.
Nova said that too.
I was like Mary Kay?
Absolutely. Mary Kay is
that's
the
what I
MLM
knew.
business. It's the most misunderstood industry, professional industry that I believe exists. So many people don't understand like the concept. And I'm not involved in MLM anymore, but I still am an avid believer in the industry. It changed my life. And I was one of those people that was like a skeptic at first. I'm like, oh God, even when I got started kind of out of desperation. And I was like, don't tell my mom I'm doing this. I'm telling my best friend, like, don't tell my mom, don't bring this up at family time because they're going to look at me like I'm crazy.
Yeah.
But what it really is we have this misconception that it's just somebody at the top who is recruiting a whole bunch of people under them. And the thought is that only the people at the top make the most money, right? Well, I would challenge anybody to show me their job in which that's not the case. You will never, ever out-earn your CEO or your supervisor or your upper-level executives, and that's just the way of the world. And MLM is like a bridge between employment and entrepreneurship. I think I grew up a lot in that industry and mindset for sure that prepared me for entrepreneurship.
I remember being 15, 16, and one of my boys is like, listen, if you join this company, you can make money. And I was like, all right, cool. I had a decent job at that point. Nothing crazy. It's an after school job. He's like, yo, so the guy that he was a part of pulled up in a BMW. And I'm like, okay, this guy has money. So we get in the car and he's telling me about a business opportunity. And I didn't see a way where I can make money without bringing other people in. But I guess that's all businesses, right?
Well, if you're in a sales role in a company, right? Or if you're in charge of marketing or something like that, the name of the game is to get more people, more customers, more sales. And so, multi-level marketing is just a way for you. It's supposed to be a way for you to find a product that you love, swear by, detergent, makeup, Mary Kay, things like that. And then you want to share it with your friends and family. And then they share it with their friends and family.
Oh, like influencers.
Yeah.
It was before influencers.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, it's like influencers.
Yes,
It's like everybody who's posting their link now, getting their affiliate. That's all we did was post our link, had a meeting, and we got our affiliate.
Yeah.
That's it. That's actually very good. I never thought about that, but
That's exactly what they do.
that's what they do.
You were mentioning that your daughter will have a decision after she leaves college.
Yeah.
Are you more pro-entrepreneurship or a job for her?
For sure, pro-entrepreneurship.
Not a question?
Not a question. Okay. So it's ultimately her choice, but I hope that she chooses entrepreneur. Well, here's the thing. I have my daughter who's 20, and then I have little cousins who are 24, 25, and a 21-year-old. The 25-year-old is like my first daughter. She was there before Dej. I babysat her, and so she was with me all the time. I am building what I hope is a family business. I see the four of them taking over my business. Like, they're all super talented, and kind of in this space, and they admire what I do. So when I say entrepreneurship versus job, it's kind of a catch-22 because it's my company, but I do want them to come and work for me, right?
Yeah.
And then ultimately roll into leadership one day. What really shifted for me in this space where I started to like rise above is when I decided to just be myself. I remember early in the industry, I was watching coaches, mostly Caucasian coaches, right? And then there were some Black women coaches as well who, from a personality perspective, you know, you ever heard like, they'd be like, oh, she act white, right? It was like that. And I don't act white, right? I am very African-American,
You don't act white.
right? And I don't want to offend anybody there. That's just the thing. It's a real thing. People say it. And so I'm watching these coaches. And I remember at that time, Valerie Burton was my favorite, but she's always in suits and she's so polished and, you know, she wears the cute little heels and all this stuff. And I'm like out there, cleavage and heels and, you know, all this stuff. But I loved her information and I resonated with her. I just knew that
To an extent.
people wouldn't resonate with me if I tried to be her. And for a while, I was trying to be like her, like she was the image of what it looked like. And then I've always wanted to be like an Oprah Winfrey, and I'm looking at Oprah and I'm like, Oprah is really to do, and you get a car and we're going to celebrate
Poised,
you.
very poised.
Yeah, very poised. And so I'm putting my work voice on. I'm code switching. I'm doing what I had to do in a job, which I hated so much. It was translating into my business in the early days. And then I had to say, hold on, Donni, like, this doesn't feel good, right? People will sign you up knowing that you are going to fail. You're not going to use this product. You're not going to recruit a single person. They just want you to sign up and get their little commission, right? I would get on the phone with people and I'd hear them and I'm asking them, well, tell me about your dreams and what you want to do in life. And they're talking to me and I would say things like, oh, this might not be what you should do, but you know what you should do? You should start that cleaning business, or you should start that financial coaching, you know, service, or whatever the case is. And I'm like, let me know if you have questions. People started having questions. And so I'm taking phone calls and I'm like, you know, they just want me to, well, what do you think about this idea? I thought about what you said and I'm doing X, Y, and Z. And so I would start talking about it, or they'd tag me and post on Facebook like, man, Donni took time that she didn't have to take. And I went and started a business. And somebody had said, I went out and I made 6 figures in 8 months. And so that post like went crazy on Facebook. And this guy sends me a DM and he's like, hey, how much would you charge to coach me? So there's different areas, and I actually take that back. You might be right. So I started in the professional space in 2012 when I started coaching other people in MLM. But remember, I owned my clothing store before, and I was coaching kind of on a confidence level. That was 2010. So yeah, we're 13 years in this thing. So the difference between business coaching and any other coaching is, you know, I could have been, in the beginning, I started out as a women's empowerment coach. From my boutique, hearing women, like I styled doctors and attorneys and people who had just lost confidence being wives. They lost their identity being wives and mothers. You know, it's like it's so easy to, once you become a person and they say, tell me about yourself. Women start off with,
I'm a mother.
And I'm a mother and I'm a, no. You are those things, but who are you, right? Outside of being Alani's mom and Tony's wife, who are you? I remember being on that call and I'm like, I don't know about this, you guys. And he said to me, Donni, you just stepped out from your office where you had to sneak and use the phone as a grown woman. Is that
Not enough.
Is that the life that you want for yourself? Like you want to have to sneak and use your phone to take a call that can improve your life? You got to sneak? And I'm like, okay. So that was the one thing. And then later that evening, I'm still having second thoughts. And he said, now, when I met you, you told me that you were in financial hardship. Quite frankly, you're broke. And that's a 5-letter B word that I just don't resonate with. And he's like, the last thing, I'm telling him all these things that I think. Well, I think that I should just work my job and work my way up, and then I'll get to management, and then I'll get to regional management. And it's just, he said, the last thing a broke person should be doing is giving themselves financial advice, because what you're telling yourself has not worked for you yet. And I was like, when's the first meeting? Put it on the calendar. What do we do? How do I stir this? Does it need sugar and cream? Let's go.
What do we need?
And that was really an introduction for me into success. You know, the interesting thing is that's not the truth. there are more female coaches than male coaches. Just like in network marketing, I learned that 70% of the industry were women, but the top 30% of the moneymakers were men. And it kind of looks this way in this space too, in this digital information space. There are more female coaches, but I think, again, even as entrepreneurs, we're still getting caught up in priorities. And I get it. Like when, my daughter was small, she was absolutely the priority. I think that my I have a little bit more flexibility. And just in my experience, I think things are changing now where we're loving ourselves differently. So it allows us to love other people differently. But previously, in my experience, the guys were more receptive to like collaborations and partnerships. And the ladies, we would, and I've been guilty too, of just kind of holding things to the chest, and you don't want to create another competitor. So we didn't, collaborate on that level. Thankfully now in the last 2 years, we've kind of been going in the direction of partnerships and collaborations, which I love and I think is beautiful. But it does look like I'm always the only woman around. Yeah. I probably perfected some things because I speak well. I was always chosen to be like the trainer for whatever companies I was at, and I'd be in front of conferences in front of 13,000, 20,000 people. So it definitely broke the ice, but my mom would tell it that I have been like dynamic in communication since I was 3 years old.
Okay.
And she thought that, she spent all her time, trying to convince me to be a journalist or a reporter.
I can see
and yeah, I couldn't though, because I
see that.
I looked at how much money they made, and I couldn't see that, right? I couldn't see that. So she's like, this is what you're missing your calling, and communication is your calling. So I guess essentially, I know that I'm operating in that, but I've been a really good speaker to the point where in high school, usually you're valedictorian and you're salutatorian and give your commencement speeches at graduation. I gave the speech, and I was not the valedictorian or the salutatorian. I was 10th in my class, and it was like a whole big deal because who is she? Why
is she here?
Why is she here? What is she doing? But that's what I do.